We all know the big Supreme Court ruling recently. The court said abortion access decisions should be decided by the states.
Right. The White House just said, hey, hold on there. The federal government still has some say. It also sent a new letter to hospitals saying doctors must perform abortions if it's a woman's life at risk, citing a federal statute. Some states have passed near total bans on abortions with limited exceptions. States like Oklahoma have said doctors could face criminal charges for performing that procedure. The White House letter tries to provide some reassurance.
The Senate returned to session today. Lawmakers heard from people impacted by the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Experts testified about the legal impacts of the ruling, and Democratic Senate leaders want to eventually use these hearings to try to help pass a bill protecting abortion rights. In the other chamber of commerce, the House wants to pass two separate bills reaffirming a woman's right to choose. Democrats have enough votes to get it out of the House, but is unlikely to ever get through the Senate.
Now, with all this conversation surrounding federal action on abortion access, we want to refresh what the Supreme Court ruling decided. It did not rule women could not receive abortions. It ended federal protections for the procedure. It simply stated the issue is best determined on a state-by-state level. Now, since then, many states have decided to restrict access to that procedure. So where does all of this leave North Carolina? Right now, the North Carolina Senate and House look like this. In our state, a governor override requires a 60% majority plus one. So let me show you what that looks like. You'll see the dots change a little bit. It's 31 Republicans in the Senate, 73 Republicans in the House. So then is a change in abortion law inevitable if you get this supermajority? A political expert says no.
But I still think there's probably some suburban, particularly suburban Republicans from some of those, maybe some of those suburban districts are outside of Raleigh or outside of Charlotte or here in Greensboro that say, you know, I'm not sure my district is really going to go for an abortion limitation that is as strict as this. So just getting that supermajority is not necessarily the magic bullet that Republicans think it might be.
Now, Tom Little says he does think it is possible for Republicans to win that supermajority in November. The effects of that won't be clear unless it actually happens.
The Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade leaves a lot up to the states. In some cases, that's causing confusion. Take a traffic stop out of Texas that's made national headlines. A pregnant woman driving in a high occupancy lane said she'd a right to be there because of her unborn child. The police officer that pulled her over says that fetus did not count as an extra person. Texas bans abortions after 6 weeks with limited exceptions. Some of the state's lawmakers say abortion should really rarely happen because they believe life begins at conception. The state law makes one statement on when life begins. The traffic stop made a contradicting one. Jobin Paniker spoke with the woman involved and let her make her case.
Brandy Batone was 34 weeks along when she alone took the high occupancy vehicle, or HOV lane, on Highway 75 in Dallas County. When pulled over by a DPS officer and asked who else is in the car,
I was like, oh, this. I was like, right here she is. And he just kind of looked at me like, how do I answer this?
Brandy in the moment wasn't trying to take a stand, only trying to fight a ticket. For context, Roe v. Wade had just been overturned, and Texas has an impending ban on abortions. She felt it right to think the child she's carrying is a passenger.
One law saying that it's a baby, and now he's telling me that this baby that's jabbing my ribs is not a baby. Why can't it all make sense?
The officer wasn't buying it. Brandy got a $275 ticket for an HOV violation.
Ma'am, it's two people outside of the body, which, weird way of wording it.
TxDOT's online description of the HOV rule isn't entirely clear. It reads simply, a vehicle occupied by two or more people. Even the officer admitted she could fight it. Hundreds, thousands of people on social media feel that too.
Just the outpour of support from, women all over the world. All sorts of emotions. I'm trying to obviously keep my blood pressure down. Let's not go into labor yet.
Brandy says she's taking a neutral stance politically. In the last 2 days, she's heard from both sides of the abortion debate. What she will say is this.
If there's a pro-women category, that's That's my stance.
Now, at 36 weeks along, she has hired an attorney and has a court date in late July. That is, if her daughter doesn't come first.
Doctors say the recent Roe v. Wade decision has forced some couples to reevaluate their family plans. One doctor says he's making a lot of calls that sound like this one.
I just want to get a feel for why you feel so confident that you're going to be happy with your vasectomy decision indefinitely.
That's urologist Dr. Doug Stein. He says he's seeing a spike in people seeking a vasectomy.
We generally see about 12% in our practice men who are child-free. And then we generally see about 12% of men who are under the age of 30. But the number of both young and child-free nearly doubled.
Vasectomies are a procedure that prevent men from being able to get women pregnant. One man says he always considered getting a vasectomy, but the Supreme Court decision really pushed him to finally do it.
I feel for a lot of men, especially for myself, that this is a way where they're trying to protect their girlfriends, they're trying to protect their partners, they're trying to protect their future partners.
Dr. Stein says vasectomies are reversible. However, not all of the reversals are successful. He says he's booked through August. I can't believe you're awake for that. It feels like forever ago, but the Supreme Court ruling happened just 2.5 weeks ago. A lot has clearly happened since, a lot more to come.
The ruling itself obviously was huge, but what happens now and in the coming weeks and months, we'll really see the impact. This is just the beginning. WFMY News 2 at 6 is next.